Welcome to What's Going On. I'm Robert L. Mentor Jr., your host.
And I'm Tanisha Baker, your co-host.
We'd like to welcome you, our viewing audience, to the award-winning show, What's Going On. And if you missed this show, you can go to the Beck Cultural Center, located right here in Knoxville, Tennessee, at 1927 Dandridge Avenue, and ask for the award-winning show, What's Going On.
That's right. And while you're at the Beck, I want you to check out some of the many other things they have there, including the exhibits, the library. They got rooms you can rent out if you want to have parties, receptions, or meetings. So it's a lot going on at the Beck, and it's always changing. So it's not a one-stop shop. We want you to keep going and check out the wonderful things. And you can get a membership card, right?
Yeah, get that.
You got a membership card?
Got that laminated.
He said you had to have it laminated for it to be official. I keep telling them it's 2019, but I guess they have some version of laminated and the legacy bricks.
Oh yeah, only costs you $100, and you can get some of your relatives inscribed on it.
That's
and
right.
Get placed in the Beck Walk of Fame.
Walk of Fame.
Yeah.
So get your membership. You get a discount. You get a free meeting each month. And then, of course, we do want you to think about getting a legacy brick so that you can honor maybe a loved one, a family member, someone special to you, and put them on that Walk of Fame.
Yeah, and just go by and check it out. They open Tuesday through Saturday from 10 to 6 p.m. And if you just want to go by and sit and read.
You can do that, and they have the internet. What's that, Mr. Minner?
Oh, yeah, you done got me together. They got Wi-Fi.
They got Wi-Fi.
They didn't have David Andrews come up there and
Not wiring. Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi, yeah.
You got your new phone on you?
Yeah.
Let me see it.
I still got it.
Let me see.
I've been having a little problem with it. I finally figured out how to press 2.
Well, listen, I don't know how long it took us to get rid of the flip phone. Then we got the new phone, but we didn't know how to answer it.
Didn't know how to answer.
We know how to answer it, but we still can't do text messages, I think. No, we can't do that yet.
LT Brown had to show me how to cut it on.
So I just want you all to know, if you're trying to contact them and you don't get an immediate response, charge it not to his heart, but charge it to the technology.
Yeah.
But we moving on up. I'm so proud.
Me too. I'm just happy y'all got me.
Got you situated.
Got me situated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and spring's in there.
It's in there.
Spring's out there, and Easter's on its way.
On the way.
Yeah,
Now this season, this weather's been confusing, man.
Yeah.
It's back and forth.
Yeah.
You think it's here to stay now?
I don't know. They still got snow in the other parts of the world, so states around here.
Well, I heard another front was coming through, and some people may have more winter weather, even through the end of March.
And I guess we were hit with all this flooding. The water's still standing.
Right,
yeah,
right.
I know. So be careful out there, and the flu is still going on. And wash your hands constantly.
Right.
Wash your hands constantly. And don't forget to listen to
Talking with T.
Talking with T. That's what I want.
I was waiting on that. He's talking about the flu and the floods. We're going to talk about Talking with T.
You got to listen to it.
Yeah, I encourage you all. Please join me. You can listen anytime on your time. We have a podcast through Google Music, iHeartRadio, iTunes, TuneIn Radio, Google Music, or you can visit www.talkingwitht.com.
All right. And spring's in there. Don't forget that there's a lot of things going on in Knoxville, and a lot of new restaurants are opening up, and a lot of restaurants are closing.
Well, it's a cycle.
Yeah.
But I tell you what, I came through downtown, and I live near here, so I feel like I'm coming through rarely often.
Right.
But it looked pretty different. Like, I saw several new things in just, I guess the past month or so, unless I wasn't paying attention. So I encourage everybody to visit the downtown area, Market Square and Gay Street, and see all of the new things right here in the heart of the city.
Yeah. And they moving east because if you notice, the Foothill building got a big gate around it.
I see. What are they going to do with that?
I think that's a bank now.
It's going to be a bank.
Yeah.
Hold all your money.
Yeah. And the rest of Austin homes are going to be tore down, too.
Now, we'll have to talk about that later.
Yeah, we're going to have somebody on the show.
I got to get some understanding about what they're going to do there.
Well, they're going to put up new houses.
For the current residents?
Well,
we're going to talk about that later.
We're going to have to talk about that later. But anyway, don't forget our show, and just want to make mention of this because our show comes on late at night now, 10:30 p.m.
10:30 p.m. on
So,
Wednesdays.
On Wednesday.
Every
so,
Wednesday.
So set your VCRs or whatever you got, your camcorders or whatever you have.
For those of you that go to bed early, if you're up, we just encourage you to flip the channel to CTV and check us out every Wednesday at 10:30 p.m. If not, but you can always go to the archives.
Yeah.
You can also visit www.talkingwitht.com and hit what's going on, and you can see the shows there as
What?
well. You didn't,
Good gracious. That blew my mind up in here.
Yeah.
All right.
That's that technology.
Ooh, modern technology. Nothing wrong with social media.
Yeah.
Well, we better bring our guest on.
We
He's
should.
sitting there waiting on.
We should do that.
I know him when is Stan Johnson.
Ooh, Stan Johnson. Stan the man.
Stan the man. Stan the man. We'd like to welcome SEED, the head of SEED.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Stan
very much.
Johnson.
You guys are doing a wonderful job. I listen to you all the time. I've been a fan of yours for a long time, Robert. So I just wanted to thank you guys for having me on the show.
Oh, it's an honor, and I'm very excited because I hear bits and pieces about what you're doing in the community, and I know the impact that SEED is making. But I need to hear it all together. So this will give the listeners and us an opportunity to really get a good scope and understanding about what SEED is doing, because you're touching several areas.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot going on. So I'll start out by saying SEED stands for Socially Equal Energy Efficient Development. We train inner city youth on green technology.
Okay.
Our mission is just strictly to get people out of poverty. We want to train young adults to get meaningful work in their own communities.
Wow.
And while we're doing that, we want to make sure that these communities have environmental literacy skills. All right, a lot of us don't really we just talked about the floods, right?
Right.
So it's bigger than just the floods. It's like the forest fires in Gatlinburg a couple years ago. There's tornadoes that came through South Knoxville. There's stuff that's going through Alabama right now. And for us that don't know, we just had a couple earthquakes.
Right.
Right.
It is.
So
I saw it on the news. I didn't know.
Yeah.
So our communities have to start being prepared for being resilient.
Okay.
There are certain things that we're going through that we're reactive on instead of proactive. Like we realize that you have a forest fire, if it rains a lot, mudslides are going to happen.
Okay.
Those mean we need to reinforce our roads up in the I-40 going through the mountains before we have a mudslide, and we can't use it for several months, and that's paying taxpayer money and coming back to haunt us. So we got to take care of the environment. We have to start educating ourselves on those things as well. So that's what SEED is about. We want to make sure that our community is prepared for those things. So the process that we go through is we take the young people from our communities from 18 to 28, and we teach them these skills. So we have a training program we call our career readiness. It speaks of
I always take notes.
yeah, you're good. Life skills, job skills, and placement skills. A lot of our people are not being educated on corporate America and the cultures of corporate America. And what ends up happening, we go out there and it blows our mind. We're not prepared for it. Usually we either quit or get fired, right? So like nobody really prepares you for handshake and eye contact, right? That means something in corporate America. It means you're honest, you're trustworthy, you have integrity. Well, it's a little different because we got like a couple different handshakes in the hood, probably about 50 to 100 different handshakes. And then if you look somebody in the eye too long in the hood, it means something totally different than what it means in corporate America.
Yeah.
So who translates that information? How do you actually boil that down into a classroom to make sure that people understand that, where, mom and daddy used to teach you, boy, look at me in the eye when I'm talking to you, and all that kind of stuff. Well, no matter how good of a handshake or eye contact person you get, it's that culture. If you go to another culture like in Japan, that don't use it anymore, right? So you have to learn their culture. Well, if you become the best bower and understand exactly what to do in their culture, you go to France, guess what you got to do? Something else. You got to kiss people on the cheek.
That's right.
So you want to make sure that you understand the culture that you're going into. So how do people handle disputes? We talk about those things at work. Instead of yelling and screaming, we have to sit down and actually work things out, because we're going to have to work together. Right? We can't be arguing at work because somebody's going to get fired.
And so these are the skills that you provide, those skills that maybe we haven't had access to. We know they're not in the normal classroom environment. So for ages 18 to 28,
correct,
you provide that training, men and women? Or
men and women.
Men and women.
Yes.
How long have you been doing
this is our 10th year. So we're going to have a great celebration this year on May the 9th. It's called the Green Tie event. So we'll be able to talk about all the 10 years in the past, but more exciting, we're going to be talking about the next 10 years in the future. because there's a lot of things that this community is going to be privy to, and that we're going to have to be educating people on some of those things. Like, what is a resilient community? Like, what does that mean? Right? Back in the day, that used to mean we helped each other. You had 2 chickens, I got a pig. We gonna have a cookout. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And we gonna feed the whole community
Right.
to get some information out. But we don't do that anymore. We put everything on the internet, except everybody go to people's website and so forth and so on. Well, the issue comes into we still deal with personal contact.
Okay.
Right? We're a door-to-door company. We have programs where we go out and we knock on our community doors and say, hey, how can we help you in this community? What, you know, all the resources that you have out here. Do you have access to these different information out here? So we want to make sure that people, you know, get living wage jobs doing this kind of work. We want to make sure that people understand that we don't all have to sit here and live in poverty just because we were born in poverty. You know, this is America. We should be able to have a way to lift ourselves up. You know, not by the necessary bootstraps, because some of us ain't got boots. But we want to make sure that we're equipped to be resilient, because it's going to be some hard times. You know, so we want to be able to bounce back. We don't want to be able to say, this didn't work, that didn't work, now I don't have nothing. It's this didn't work, that didn't work, what's the next opportunity? So that's what we really are about, is really talking about these opportunities that we have for these young people.
Right. And 10 years.
Oh, yes.
Man, wow, makes me feel kind of old, Stan.
Well, I don't want to do that.
But I want to talk. I want you to talk about something that you introduced to our community a while back when I had the radio show, the energy efficient.
Yes, sir.
And as we were talking off the air, those light bulbs that you were knocking on the doors,
Yes.
they're actually selling them.
They're
now.
actually selling them now. Yes. So when we talk about energy efficient, we also talk about our personal energy. So we waste a lot of energy, you know, because of information that's out there. We could be sitting there learning about how to become a contractor, or how to become a school teacher, or how to become somebody professional, but we really care about Kim Kardashian and how she broke the internet. You know, so we're trying to entertain ourselves instead of informing ourselves.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that information system, you're open to it. And that's been the biggest thing. So we was giving away light bulbs,
That's right.
talking about energy efficiency. Well, we were talking about energy efficiency in your home as well.
That's right.
Right? So we want to make sure that your homes are weatherized. Your insulate, that's the envelope of your whole home. Want to make sure your windows are secure, your heating and cooling unit is up
Y'all
to
ain't
date.
gonna keep my KUB bill.
Oh my gosh.
That's what you're getting at,
that's
right?
what I'm getting at, because
Okay.
you know, in the hood we call KUB something different than Knoxville Utility Board,
Yeah,
right?
well, I
You
need
know,
to check that. Let's go over this list again.
Yeah.
So me and the listeners, for those of us in the learning stage, I
Yes.
am a receptacle for information. So I'm
Yes.
willing to listen. Now we said I gotta check my insulation,
yes.
windows.
Windows, doors,
Uh-huh.
and also your HVAC unit, because they have ducts. Anytime that a hole was put into your home, there's an opportunity for air
okay.
leaks.
I see.
Right? So
Okay.
anytime you have too many air leaks, your air conditioner, your heat is like 50% of your utility bill.
Right.
So if you're heating a space that's going through the roof or through the walls, your utility bills are going to be higher. Well, it's not KUB's fault to say that's it's your house. You're supposed to take care
Right.
of it. But 9 times out of 10, you probably bought that home before the standard zoning codes or building
current ones,
codes
yeah.
were up to date, right? So
That's right.
1978 was the first ones. So in the inner city, including Vestal, Fort Sanders, Mechanicsville, Beaumont, Lonsdale, East Knoxville, North Broadway, all those houses were built before 1978. So they didn't have any housing standards.
No.
Right? So now we still are trying to heat those same houses. Grandma and them used to put plastic over the window and
You're right.
towels up under the door, right? Well, they got new technology now, as we was talking, that you can actually upgrade all those things. And in some cases, you get some savings back on your taxes. But in some cases, if you qualify for these said programs, CAC will fix it for free.
That's right.
Okay. So
Right.
they need to contact.
So they need to contact CAC and get on the waiting list. Now, what we're pushing for is for everyday citizens to actually start speaking out about their utility bills. We want to know that your utility bill is either high or low. Well, because we want to know what are the best practices. How can we, in Knoxville, not from some other studies in some other place, how can the people in Knoxville have a voice about their own utility bill, right? How can they actually have a format to where they can talk about it? So what we're looking at now is teaming up with people like TVA, the city of Knoxville, Alliance to Save Energy, CAC as well, to really start talking about your energy and water in your home, right? People need to learn how to save their energy and water. That's a big deal. Even if you get your installation and stuff done, your water bill is a separate bill from your electric.
That's right.
Yes.
And if you notice, your water bill is even going up because your wastewater, it doubles your regular water, right?
Let me
Your
tell you
drinking water.
something.
Yes, ma'am, I'm listening.
I had a leak that I didn't know about with the wastewater. And without divulging too much, that's make my heart beat fast now.
No, look out now. I know
That
what you're
bill
talking
was so high.
about.
Like at first, I thought I just needed some glasses. I said, "This can't be right. It's too many zeros."
Yeah, yeah.
When you have a bill over $1,000
Something wrong.
from just a water leak, now they will do an adjustment, and I think that's important to know because sometimes we don't know our options. But
Right.
going back to, I didn't realize how much wastewater contributed to our bills, and if there are ways that we can save or be smarter or more efficient about wastewater, my eyes and ears are open for
Yes,
sure.
most definitely. So KUB is actually going to be running some community programs that they're going to be talking about their wastewater, right? Because we have to engage our community with the people that's supposed to be helping us. If you're going to tell me you're going to charge me $1,000, you better tell me how to fix it, right?
All right.
And I don't really want to wait till I get a $1,000 bill for you to tell me how to fix it.
Right.
I need to know how to fix it before that happens. And then if that happens, what are my steps to take to make sure I resolve that problem? Because they will do some reimbursement of those funds, but it won't come off your bill until you pay the whole bill. So if you ain't got $1,000 on the front end, we will have to wait for a minute, right? So those are the kind of things that we need to make sure that our community is understanding, because again, if those homes are built before 1978, they're not weatherized.
Nope.
They don't even have housing standards. Some of those homes don't even have insulation at all. So, Ms. Miller, I grew up in a house in Lonsdale that had a coal stove in it.
Right.
So that kind of stuff is still existing today.
That's right.
So how do we make sure that people that have the information that they can actually get their homes weatherized? Because all you have to do is qualify for your income, right? So what we're going to do in that process is we're going to go out and we're going to be doing 1,000 surveys.
Okay.
And we're going to start in the Selma area. So if you guys around in the Selma area behind Austin see us with some green shirts and some black shirts that says SEED on it, we're there for change. We're going to be knocking on your door, and we're going to be talking to you about what are some of your needs, right? And we want to really get deep into your energy and water, but then we're going to talk about your health in your homes. We just had schools shut down, right? Why did the schools shut down? Well, all these kids had a flu. Well, how'd you get the flu? Well, is your house drafty, right? Are you washing your hands?
Right.
Do you have mold? Do you have asthma that you're missing days of school? So that means your parents are missing days of work.
That's right.
Well, sooner or later, that's a monetary value. And if we don't understand that by sending these kids to the emergency room, children's hospital, wherever we're sending them at, that's going to cost somebody some money someplace down the line, because I got to be at work and you got to be at school. And we're missing those days. Now, is that contributed to the health inside your home? How do we find that out without asking the people? So we're going to go out and make sure we talk about that. The last thing we're going to be talking about is emergency preparedness. All right, we just talked about the Gatlinburg situation and the earthquakes that we're having and the flood situation that we're having. These are symptoms of what's to come. We're in times of change. You can remember when it snowed a lot in Knoxville back in the 70s.
Right.
Now it rains a lot in Knoxville, right? You can remember those hot summers that was over 90 degrees, right? Now we're talking about over 100 degrees summers.
Right.
So temperature is changing and time is moving fast, that we're not really talking about how do we protect our climate? How do we protect our land? And then how do we protect our own homes, right? If we're not doing that and we have an emergency, where do people go, right? Do you guys remember Katrina?
You're right.
We actually had what they called, they didn't even call them evacuees, they called them like them people in war. What they call refugees.
Refugees.
How are you gonna have a U.S. citizen a refugee? What the heck does that mean? Like our own communities couldn't come together to help them? So in their case, it was a no. So those people had to move.
Right.
Some of them ended up here in Knoxville.
That's right.
Right? Now, I don't know about you, but I'm not prepared in a day's notice to leave my house, my car, my job, and move to wherever. right? And it's over emergency when you guys could have told me that it was coming, and then we could actually went out and found a way to create a system to talk to people and then meet up somewhere to figure out how do we get the poorest people out of those communities, because they can't evacuate. They don't have cars, they don't have planes, they don't have buses, they don't have none of that kind of stuff. And then when they get somewhere, they ain't got no hotel money.
That's right.
Right? So how do we really, who are we really talking to when we're talking about these emergency plans that we have for these cities and these counties? We're definitely not talking about the least of these. So what I want to do is talk about how do we make things happen before. Let's get a little bit proactive instead of reactive. Let's not wait till the project grad is they're about to shut it down before we show up at 1,000 people at city council. Let's go to city council.
Come on with it.
Let's go to city council and say, hey, we need more because this is working for our community. Why wouldn't we want that instead of waiting until they think it's not working?
Yeah, that's right.
Because when I heard some of the statistics of what was working from the kids,
Right.
I'm like, why they ain't been talking
Yeah.
to the people the whole time?
We know what that's all about.
So the key to that is we as a community that know better need to do better.
Right.
So that's pretty much
information on the front end.
Share the
instead of being
information.
reactive.
We don't need to be reactive. We don't have to wait till the police kill no kid out here to know that police is doing something in the country that's actually shooting young black people. We don't have to wait till that happens here. We got a great community. We have a great police chief that we can actually communicate with to make sure that the young people are getting trained correctly, that they know how to respond to our community, so our community knows how to respond to the police. It's not a issue that we cannot solve, right? We put a man on the moon. But now we don't want to talk to each other, that we know there's some tension between police and African Americans in this country. That doesn't, I mean, why would I wait till my son or my nephew or somebody else gets murdered that we know there's a problem out here? We at least need to have a conversation about it.
Right.
And then how do we turn around and then get our politicians involved, right? You're not just West Knoxville politicians. You're politicians for all of Knoxville.
Amen.
So if we have an issue and we have data that we can show them that this is what the people say is wrong, this is what the people say are some of the solutions, how do we work together to make sure that that money trickles down to those said communities to work on some of these things?
Your survey will help gather some of that data and information, okay.
Yes, ma'am. So that's the big thing. We want to make sure that people, get the bigger picture of how do we work together as a community instead of these one-off things. One of the things I started realizing when I first started this business 10 years ago, we thought too small of a problem, and some of these problems are huge. Weatherization, how we even started that process was we have this company, this grant called LAHEAP. And LAHEAP pays for utility bills up to like $400 through CAC. Great program, wonderful, but we're spending like $4-5 million a year in that, right? So TVA actually granted Knoxville $15 million to do weatherization.
You're right.
They did 1,300 homes, I think 1,300 or 1,500 homes. Well, when I look back at the data, it was 10,000 people that was getting the LAHEAP money, right? And they're doing it at 1,500 homes or $1,500. That's $10,000 a home. Well, if you're putting 10,000 homes for $10,000, that's $100 million. That's a big problem.
Yeah. Right.
Well, we can't put people that's making $30,000 or $40,000 a year in $100 million problems. We need experts that deal with $100 million problems to come and help us talk about these said issues. Well, because of that, we got IBM in here. And IBM are used to dealing with $100 million problems. So they told us, instead of using LAHEAP, let's find money to put into weatherization. So we started the Round It Up program from KUB. KUB now takes, and please do round it up. If you opted out, opt back in, because that helps people get their homes weatherized. And that's really what it's about.
But until I got that $1,000 but I have opted in, and I do encourage people. I remember when they started that, and I thought it was a great idea, and it's minimal effort on our part to just round up a little bit.
Because $1,188 is the most you're going to spend a whole year.
Right.
They're gonna spend that somewhere. Might as well help somebody with that money. And what it does, it helps about $500,000 worth of homes being weatherized. And TVA is now going to match that same amount of money.
Oh, okay.
So now that program is going to continue. So that's a part of how you solve that $100 million problem is you're going to have to take bite-sized chunks out of it. And then the other cities are doing the same thing. So we actually started here in Knoxville, a pilot program. Now TVA has spread that same program around 10 communities, excuse me, in the TVA region. So now we're talking about another 10 cities to doing the same thing that Knoxville is
The
doing.
Roundup
So,
program?
yes.
Okay.
Now, Stan, I know we're just about running out of time. I want you to let our viewing audience know where you're going to be.
And
on Selma.
how young people can get involved in the
how they
training.
can get involved, and where you're going to be knocking on doors.
All right, so we're going to be in the Selma Valley is what we're looking at.
Yeah, okay.
It's going to be all the way from Magnolia back to Boys Bridge.
Okay.
So that area right in there, and all the way from from Burlington to Ben Hur.
Okay.
So that's where we're gonna be at. The second thing, the SEEEDKnox.com is how you get in touch with us, or you can get us at let's see, 1617 Dandridge Avenue, which is an old Turnkey 3 building, Morningside Community Center.
Right.
That's where we're located. Our phone number is 865-766-5185. You can apply online
For the
training program. We're actually getting ready to start up a program in the middle of April.
Okay.
So you have from now until the first week of April to apply. Again, you can apply online, or you can like us on Facebook and actually locate us that way as well. Our next graduating class will be graduating at the Public Works Building, and they're going to be at 6 o'clock on the 27th of this month. So all is invited. Please come out and celebrate with us, our young people that's graduating. And then we're going to have our great Green Tie event, which is going to be on the 9th of May.
Okay.
And that's going to be at 6 o'clock. And I'll have to get back with you on the location because I remember it. I want to say it's the, no, but I'm not going to say that. But it'll be on our Facebook and our website as well. But we want to encourage people to visit our website, because one of the things that you're going to get is learning more about the young people.
All right, Stan.
And that's what we were really about.
Thank you, Stan, for coming on. We've run out of time. We could go another hour.
We could. It was
30
very
minutes is not
interesting.
enough for Seed.
Right.
Hey,
Thank you so
we
much.
thank you
You're
very much.
doing great work out there. Just keep it up.
Thank you very much. Look forward for your support.
All right. We thank you, our viewing audience, for tuning in to the Walk Winning Show, What's Going On. Don't forget, our show comes on every Wednesday at 10:30 p.m.
And what do you always say?
If you don't support,
We don't exist.
we don't exist. See you next time.